Good evening. Tonight, before we begin, allow yourself to slow down. Allow your body to settle. Allow your breathing to become softer. The day has already given you enough. The conversations, the responsibilities, the decisions, the things you completed and the things you did not. For this moment, you do not need to carry any of it. You do not need to solve tomorrow. You do not need to replay yesterday. You do not need to understand everything. Tonight, you are simply here, listening, resting, allowing your mind to become quiet. There is something many people experience, yet few truly understand. A mind that never stops. A mind that continues speaking long after the world becomes silent. The body may be tired. The room may be dark. The eyes may be closed. But somewhere inside, the thoughts continue. A conversation from years ago appears. A mistake you made returns. A future problem suddenly feels urgent. A small uncertainty becomes 1,000 possibilities. One thought creates another, and another, and another, until the mind becomes a place where you can no longer find silence. This is the experience of overthinking. A mind trying to protect you, but accidentally exhausting you. A mind trying to prepare you for every possibility, but forgetting how to rest. Many people believe overthinking means they care deeply, and sometimes it does. It comes from wanting to do things correctly, wanting to avoid mistakes, wanting to protect the people we love, wanting life to be safe, wanting to know that everything will be okay. But the mind has a strange habit. It believes that if it thinks enough, it can prevent pain. If it analyzes enough, it can avoid disappointment. If it predicts enough, it can control the future. So it keeps searching, searching for answers, searching for certainty, searching for a guarantee that life cannot provide. A person who overthinks may spend hours thinking about a single sentence. Why did they say that? What did they mean? Did I do something wrong? What if I had chosen differently? What if something goes wrong tomorrow? The mind creates a room, then locks itself inside. And the strange thing is, the key was always nearby. The Buddha often taught about the nature of the mind. He compared the uncontrolled mind to a wild animal. Not because the mind is bad, but because it moves constantly. Looking, searching, reacting, chasing. A wild animal runs because it believes it must survive. The mind runs because it believes it must solve everything. But not every problem requires immediate solving. Not every thought deserves attention. Not every fear deserves belief. Imagine standing beside a river. The water flows continuously. Thousands of drops pass by every moment. You do not try to stop the river. You do not grab every drop. You simply observe. You allow the river to move. Thoughts are like that river. They come, they go, they appear, they disappear. The suffering begins when we jump into the river and try to control the current. Tonight, perhaps you can practice something different. Instead of fighting your thoughts, observe them. Instead of saying, "Why am I thinking this?" simply notice. A thought is here. A thought is not a command. A thought is not a prediction. A thought is not always the truth. It is simply something passing through awareness. There is an old Zen story about a young monk. His name was Ren. Ren was sincere, hardworking, dedicated. Every day he practiced meditation. Every day he studied the teachings. Every day he tried his best to become peaceful. But there was one problem. His mind would not become quiet. No matter how long he sat, thoughts appeared. Questions, doubts, memories, plans. One evening, Ren went to his teacher. He bowed deeply and said, "Master, I have a problem." The old teacher looked at him calmly. "What problem do you have?" Ren replied, "My mind will not stop. I meditate, but thoughts continue. I sit quietly, but my thoughts become louder. I want peace, but my own mind prevents me from finding it." The teacher smiled, then asked, "Where is your mind?" Ren was confused. "What do you mean?" The teacher said, "Bring me your restless mind." "Show it to me." Ren sat quietly. He searched inside himself. He looked for the thoughts, the worries, the fears, the endless noise. He searched and searched, but he could not find a single thing he could hold. He returned to the teacher. "I cannot find my mind." The teacher smiled. "Then you have already found peace." Ren did not understand. The teacher continued, "You have spent your whole life trying to silence something you cannot even hold. Thoughts appear, thoughts disappear, but you are the one who notices them. This is one of the deepest teachings of Zen. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness, observing them. The clouds are not the sky. The waves are not the ocean. The thoughts are not the whole of you. A storm may pass through the sky, but the sky remains. Waves may rise upon the ocean, but the ocean remains. Thoughts may move through your mind, but something deeper remains peaceful. Perhaps tonight, you have been trying too hard to create silence. Perhaps peace is not created by forcing thoughts away. Perhaps peace appears when you stop fighting their arrival. Think about a quiet room. If you enter and search desperately for silence, you create movement. You create tension. You create noise. But if you simply sit, the silence reveals itself. The same is true with the mind. The more desperately you chase peace, the further away it may seem. But when you gently allow yourself to be present, peace begins returning naturally. Tonight, you do not need to empty your mind. You do not need to stop every thought. You do not need to become someone different. You only need to become a little kinder toward your own mind, a little more patient, a little more understanding. Your mind has been trying to protect you for a long time, even when it worries, even when it imagines problems, even when it keeps you awake. Deep down, it is simply trying to keep you safe. So tonight, instead of fighting your mind, thank it and tell it gently, "You have worked hard today. You may rest now. The night is here. The world is quiet, and you are allowed to be quiet too." Imagine yourself sitting beside a peaceful lake. The moon reflects on the water. The mountains are still. The air is cool. Your thoughts are like small ripples. They appear. They move. They fade. You do not need to stop the water. You simply watch, and slowly, the lake becomes still again. Not because you forced it, but because you allowed it. The same peace exists within you, waiting, patiently, quietly. Tonight, you do not need fewer thoughts. You only need less attachment to them. Rest now. The mind can soften. The heart can relax. The night can hold you. You are not the storm. You are the sky, watching the storm pass. Welcome back. As you continue resting, allow yourself to settle a little deeper. There is no need to remember every word. There is no need to concentrate. Simply allow the story to move gently through your mind, like a quiet stream, like a soft breeze passing through the trees. Tonight, we continue the story of Ren, the young monk who wanted peace, the young monk who wanted his mind to become silent, the young monk who believed that if he could stop thinking, he would finally become free. For many years, Ren lived in a small Zen temple hidden among the mountains. The temple was surrounded by ancient trees. A small river flowed nearby. Birds sang in the morning. Mist covered the valley before sunrise. It was a beautiful place, a place where many people came searching for wisdom, searching for peace, searching for themselves. Ren loved the temple. He loved the quiet mornings. He loved the sound of the wooden bell. He loved watching the old monks walk slowly through the garden. Everything about the temple seemed peaceful. Everything, except his own mind. Every morning before sunrise, Ren sat in meditation. He closed his eyes, straightened his posture, focused on his breathing, just as his teacher instructed. But within moments, the thoughts arrived. What will happen in the future? Am I practicing correctly? Am I becoming wiser? Why do other monks seem calmer than me? Why can't I control my thoughts? The more he tried to stop thinking, the more thoughts appeared. It was like telling yourself, do not think about a white mountain. Immediately, a white mountain appears. The mind is mysterious. The more we fight it, the stronger the struggle becomes. Weeks passed. Months passed. Ren became frustrated. He practiced longer. He meditated harder. He tried everything. He sat for hours. He controlled his breathing. He forced himself to remain still. He tried to push every thought away. But something strange happened. The thoughts became even louder. One night, Ren could not sleep. He walked through the temple garden, under the moonlight. The world was silent. The trees were still. The stars filled the sky. Yet inside him, there was a storm. He found his teacher sitting beside a small pond. The old monk was simply watching the water. Ren bowed. Master. The teacher opened his eyes. Yes? Ren sat beside him. I have tried everything. I meditate. I practice. I follow the teachings. But my mind continues creating thoughts. I feel like I am failing. The old monk looked at the pond, then asked, Do you see the water? Ren looked. Yes. What do you notice? Ren replied. It is disturbed. Small waves cover the surface. The teacher nodded. Why are there waves? Ren thought. The wind? The teacher smiled. Yes, the wind creates movement. But tell me, does the water hate the wind? Ren was silent. The teacher continued. When the wind comes, the water moves. When the wind leaves, the water becomes still. The water does not fight. It simply allows. Ren listened carefully. The teacher pointed toward Ren's chest. Your mind is like this pond. Thoughts are like the wind. You believe you must stop the wind, but the wind was never your enemy. This simple lesson stayed with Ren. For years, he believed peace meant having no thoughts. He believed enlightenment meant an empty mind. He believed wisdom meant never feeling fear, doubt, or sadness. But slowly, he began to understand. A peaceful mind is not a mind without thoughts. A peaceful mind is a mind that no longer fights every thought. There is a difference, a huge difference. Imagine the ocean. Would you say the ocean is not peaceful because waves appear? Of course not. The waves are part of the ocean. They rise, they fall, they return. The mistake is believing that peace requires stillness at all times. Sometimes peace is learning to remain steady while movement happens. Your thoughts may continue. Your emotions may change. Life may become uncertain, but you do not have to be carried away by every wave. Many people live as if every thought is a command. A thought appears, I might fail, and they believe it. A thought appears, something bad may happen, and they believe it. A thought appears. I am not good enough. And they believe it. But a thought is only a visitor. It comes. It stays briefly. Then it leaves. Imagine sitting beside a road. Cars pass by. Some are beautiful. Some are old. Some are loud. Some are quiet. But you do not chase every car. You simply watch. Thoughts are the same. Some thoughts are useful. Some are unnecessary. Some are beautiful. Some are painful. But you do not have to follow every one. This was the beginning of Ren's transformation. He stopped trying to defeat his mind. He started learning from it. Every morning, he still meditated. Thoughts still appeared. But now, something was different. When worry appeared, he noticed. When fear appeared, he noticed. When memories appeared, he noticed. And instead of fighting, he allowed. A thought came. What if I fail? And Ren answered, perhaps. A thought came. What if tomorrow is difficult? And Ren answered, perhaps. A thought came. What if I am not enough? And Ren answered, perhaps. He no longer argued with every thought. He no longer entered every battle. He simply observed. And slowly, the mind became quieter. Not because he forced it, but because he stopped feeding the noise. This is an important lesson for anyone who overthinks. The mind often continues because we keep giving it energy. A thought appears. We analyze it. We question it. We create another thought, then another. Soon, one small thought becomes an entire world. But what happens if we simply let the thought pass? What happens if we say, I notice this thought, and then return to the breath? The thought loses its power. Tonight, perhaps you can practice this. If a thought appears, do not push it away. Do not follow it. Simply notice. A thought is here. A memory is here. A feeling is here. And then, return. Return to your breathing. Return to this moment. Return to the quiet. Because beneath all thoughts, there is stillness. Like the sky behind the clouds, like the ocean beneath the waves, like the mountain beneath the changing weather. There is a part of you that has always been peaceful, a part of you that does not need to solve everything, a part of you that simply observes. The old Zen masters called this awareness, the quiet observer, the part of yourself that watches life unfold. Tonight, imagine yourself sitting beside Ren near the peaceful pond. The moon reflects on the water. The trees move gently in the wind. The pond is not perfectly still. Small ripples appear, and that is okay. You do not need the water to be completely still to find peace. You only need to stop fighting the ripples. Your thoughts may come, your thoughts may go, but you remain calm, present, aware. The night is quiet now. The temple rests. The lanterns glow softly. And Ren finally understands. The goal was never to empty the mind. The goal was to stop being controlled by it. And perhaps tonight, you can carry this wisdom with you. Not forcing, not fighting, not chasing, simply allowing. Rest now. The thoughts can come tomorrow. The answers can come tomorrow. The future can arrive tomorrow. Tonight, you rest. Welcome back. As the night continues, allow yourself to relax even deeper. The body becoming heavier. The breath becoming softer. The mind becoming quieter. There is no need to follow every word. No need to remember every lesson, like listening to the rain outside a window. The sound itself is enough. The mind does not need to hold every drop. It only needs to rest. Tonight, we continue our journey into the nature of overthinking. Why does the mind continue searching? Why does it create endless questions? Why does it return again and again to the same worries? The ancient Buddhist teachers often compared the uncontrolled mind to a monkey, a small monkey jumping from branch to branch, never resting, never staying in one place, always searching for something new, something interesting, something important, something to solve. The monkey mind says, maybe there is something I missed. Maybe I should think about this one more time. Maybe if I analyze it again, I will finally feel safe. But the strange thing about the monkey mind is that it never reaches the place it promises. It promises, just think a little more, and you will find peace. But after thinking more, it creates another question, then another, like a traveler chasing the horizon. No matter how far they walk, the horizon remains far away. Many people believe their overthinking is helping them, and sometimes thinking does help. Reflection helps, planning helps, learning helps. Wisdom requires thought. But there is a difference between thoughtful awareness and endless mental repetition. One is like a clear lake reflecting the moon. The other is like muddy water being constantly stirred. The mind that reflects can see clearly. The mind that constantly spins becomes tired. There was once a young man who visited a Zen teacher. He was known throughout the village as someone who worried about everything. If the weather was sunny, he worried about the possibility of rain. If the weather was rainy, he worried about the possibility of a storm. If people praised him, he worried they might change their opinion. If people criticized him, he replayed their words for days. When he arrived at the temple, he said, "Master, I have a problem." The teacher smiled. "Everyone who comes here says that." The young man continued, "My mind never rests. It constantly searches for answers. It constantly imagines problems. I feel trapped inside my own thoughts." The teacher handed him a small cup, then pointed toward a nearby stream. "Fill this cup with water." The young man looked confused, but he followed the instruction. He walked to the stream, filled the cup, and returned. The teacher then said, "Now carry the cup around the temple, but be careful. Do not spill a single drop." The young man slowly walked, watching every step, protecting every movement, completely focused. After several minutes, he returned. The teacher asked, while carrying the cup, "Did you think about your worries?" The young man paused. "No." "Did you think about your fears?" "No." "Did you think about yesterday or tomorrow?" "No." The teacher smiled. "Why not?" The young man answered, "Because I was completely focused on the cup." The teacher nodded. Exactly. When the mind fully enters the present moment, there is no room for unnecessary suffering. The young man understood. His problem was not that he had thoughts. His problem was that he was constantly leaving the present moment. He was living in imaginary futures, revisiting invisible pasts, creating problems that existed only inside his mind. The cup had brought him back. Back to now. Back to reality. Back to life. This is one of the deepest teachings of mindfulness. Peace is not found by controlling every thought. Peace is found by returning to the present, again and again and again, because the present moment is the only place where life actually happens. The past is memory. The future is imagination. But this breath, this moment, this experience is real. Think about how many moments disappear because the mind is somewhere else. Eating a meal while thinking about work, walking outside while thinking about problems, talking with someone while preparing the next response. lying in bed while worrying about tomorrow. The body is here, but the mind is somewhere far away. And because the mind is constantly traveling, we rarely experience the peace that is already available. The Buddha taught that awareness is like a lamp in a dark room. Without the lamp, we stumble. We mistake shadows for reality. We become frightened by shapes we do not understand. But when the lamp is turned on, we see clearly. The shadow was only a shadow. The fear was only a thought. The problem was not as large as we imagined. Overthinking often happens in darkness, not physical darkness, but the darkness of unconscious thinking. A thought appears. We follow it. Another thought appears. We follow that too, until suddenly we are lost. Mindfulness is the light. It allows us to see, I am thinking, I am worrying, I am imagining. And in that moment, we are no longer completely trapped. There is a beautiful Zen saying, do not believe everything you think, because the mind is creative. It creates stories, sometimes beautiful ones, sometimes frightening ones. The mind can imagine losing everything. The mind can imagine being rejected. The mind can imagine failure. The mind can imagine disasters. But imagination is not reality. A movie playing inside your mind is still only a movie. Tonight, perhaps you can imagine your thoughts as birds flying across the sky. Some birds are dark. Some birds are bright. Some birds are loud. Some birds are quiet. But you are not the birds. You are the sky. The birds come. They fly. They leave. The sky does not chase them. The sky does not fight them. The sky does not worry about where they came from. It simply allows. This is the wisdom of Zen. Not becoming a person who never thinks. Becoming a person who is no longer controlled by every thought. Now, take a gentle breath. Imagine yourself sitting in the temple garden at night. The old teacher is beside you. The lantern beside the path glows softly. The trees move gently. The air is peaceful. The teacher looks at you and says, your mind is like a garden. What you water will grow. If you water fear, fear grows. If you water worry, worry grows. If you water peace, peace grows. Every moment of attention is a seed. Be careful what you plant. Tonight, do not water tomorrow's problems. Do not water yesterday's regrets. Water this moment. Water this breath. Water this quiet. The monkey mind may still jump. That is okay. The goal is not to capture the monkey. The goal is to stop chasing it. Let it move. Let it play. Let it eventually become tired. A mind that is no longer chased eventually becomes quiet. The moon rises. The temple sleeps. The stream continues flowing. And for a little while, the mind rests. Not because every question has been answered, but because you have stopped demanding answers from this moment. You are here. You are breathing. You are alive. And right now, that is enough. Welcome back. The night continues to become quieter. The world outside slowly disappears. The sounds become softer. The body becomes calmer. And the mind begins to loosen its grip. Tonight, we continue our journey, not by fighting thoughts, not by trying to erase worries, but by understanding something deeper. Sometimes, the reason we overthink is not because we have too many thoughts. It is because we are carrying too much. We carry memories. We carry expectations. We carry other people's opinions. We carry old conversations. We carry fears about things that have not happened. We carry responsibilities that were never truly ours. And after carrying these things for so long, We forget they are even there. They simply become part of our daily life, like a traveler carrying a heavy backpack. At first, the weight feels obvious. The shoulders hurt. The body becomes tired. The journey feels difficult. But after walking with that backpack for many years, something strange happens. The traveler forgets the backpack exists. The weight becomes normal. Many people live this way, carrying invisible bags filled with thoughts, walking through life, wondering why they feel exhausted. Tonight, let us listen to an old Zen story. A story about a monk and a bag of stones. Long ago, there was a young monk named Kai. Kai was kind. He was sincere. He wanted to become a better person. He wanted to understand life. He wanted to become wise. Every morning, Kai helped in the temple. He cleaned the garden, prepared food, studied teachings, served the other monks. Everyone admired his dedication, but the old teacher noticed something. Kai was always tired, not physically, something deeper. His eyes carried worry. His movements carried tension. His mind always seemed somewhere else. One evening, the teacher asked, "Kai, why do you look so heavy?" Kai smiled sadly. "Master, I am trying my best. I want to improve. I want to avoid mistakes. I want people to respect me. I want to make sure everything goes well." The teacher listened, then asked, "Come with me." They walked into the forest behind the temple. After a while, they reached a small clearing. There was a large bag on the ground. The teacher pointed toward it. "Pick it up." Kai lifted the bag. It was surprisingly heavy. "What is inside?" he asked. The teacher replied, "Stones." "Why would someone carry a bag of stones?" Kai asked. The teacher smiled. "That is the question." They continued walking. After some time, Kai's arms became tired. His shoulders began to ache. Finally, he said, "Master, this bag is too heavy." The teacher asked, "Why do you not put it down?" Kai looked confused. "Because I am carrying it." The teacher smiled. Exactly. The lesson was simple, but it reached deeply into Kai's heart. Many burdens continue only because we continue holding them. A painful memory appears. We hold it. A regret appears. We hold it. Someone's opinion appears. We hold it. A fear appears. We hold it. Then years pass, and we wonder why we feel tired. But the mind has a habit. It believes holding on creates protection. It thinks, "If I remember this mistake, I will never repeat it. If I worry about this problem, I will be prepared. If I replay this conversation, maybe I will understand." But sometimes, holding on does not protect us. It only keeps us trapped. The Buddha taught about attachment, not because caring is wrong, not because love is wrong, not because memories are wrong. Attachment becomes suffering when we believe, "I cannot be okay unless this changes. I cannot be peaceful unless this person acts differently. I cannot rest unless I know the future." The mind creates conditions, thousands of conditions, and says, "When all these things happen, then I will finally be peaceful." But life rarely gives us perfect conditions. There will always be something unfinished, something uncertain, something beyond our control. If peace requires everything to be perfect, peace will always be delayed. Imagine waiting beside the ocean and saying, "I will enjoy the ocean when every wave stops." You would wait forever, because waves are part of the ocean, just as uncertainty is part of life. Change is part of life. Thoughts are part of the mind. The goal is not to stop the waves. The goal is to learn how to stand in the ocean without fear. Now, Bring your attention inward. Is there something you have been carrying? Something that follows you everywhere? Something that returns when the room becomes quiet? Perhaps a mistake, perhaps a person, perhaps a fear, perhaps a version of yourself you have not forgiven. Imagine placing that burden into the bag, the same bag Kai carried. Place inside the regret, the worry, the pressure, the need to control, the need to be perfect. Now hold the bag, notice its weight, and gently ask yourself, do I still need to carry this tonight? Not forever, not for the rest of your life, just tonight. Can this wait? Can this rest? Can this be placed down for a few hours? Because tomorrow will come. And when tomorrow comes, you can meet it. But tonight belongs to rest. There is another Zen story about a traveler who carried a clock. The clock was broken, but he carried it cosily, 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 cosily. Why do you carry a broken clock? The traveler replied, because it reminds me of the time I lost. The monk smiled. But every moment you spend carrying it, you lose another moment. Sometimes we hold on to the past so tightly that we lose the present. The mind says, I need to understand why it happened. I need closure. I need an answer. But some things are not healed by more thinking. Some things are healed by acceptance, by forgiveness, by allowing time to do what time does. A wound cannot heal if we keep touching it. A flower cannot bloom if we keep pulling it open. Peace cannot grow if we constantly disturb it. Tonight, you do not need to solve every mystery of your life. You do not need to understand every person. You do not need to explain every ending. Some things can simply remain unfinished. Like a book, with a page turned halfway. The story continues. Like the moon, hidden behind clouds. The moon is still there. Like a seed beneath the soil. Growth is happening, even when you cannot see it. Trust the unseen process. Now imagine yourself returning to the quiet lake. The same lake beneath the full moon. The water is calm. The mountains are silent. Beside you is the bag of stones. All the thoughts, all the worries, all the things you have carried. You slowly place the bag beside the water. Not throw it, not destroy it. Simply place it down. You are not denying your life. You are simply resting from carrying it. The lake does not carry the mountain. The sky does not carry the stars. The earth does not carry tomorrow. Everything exists naturally, without force, without struggle. And perhaps you can too. Take a slow breath. The shoulders relax. The hands soften. The mind becomes quieter. The bag remains beside the lake. And tonight, you walk away lighter. Not because life changed, but because your relationship with life changed. You no longer need to carry every thought. You no longer need to follow every worry. You no longer need to solve everything before resting. The lantern glows softly. The moon watches quietly. And the night welcomes you. Rest now. The wait can wait. Tomorrow can wait. The answers can wait. For tonight, simply breathe. Simply be. Simply rest. Welcome back. As the night becomes deeper, allow yourself to arrive here. Not in yesterday, not in tomorrow, but here. This moment, this breath, this quiet space between thoughts. For most people, the body is in one place, but the mind is somewhere else. The body sits at home, but the mind is at work. The body lies in bed, but the mind is replaying a conversation. The body is resting, but the mind is preparing for problems that have not arrived. And slowly, without noticing, we lose the place where life actually happens. the present moment. The Buddha spent much of his teaching reminding people of something simple. The mind is always moving, but awareness can remain still. Thoughts move, feelings move, the world moves, everything changes, but there is a quiet place within you that can observe all of it. Like a mountain watching the seasons change. The mountain does not chase the spring. It does not resist the winter. It simply remains. Tonight, we return to that place. The monk and the broken bowl. There was once a young monk who lived in a small temple. He was known for one thing. He was always thinking. While eating, he thought about tomorrow. While walking, he thought about yesterday. While meditating, he thought about whether he was meditating correctly. Even during peaceful moments, his mind searched for something to worry about. One day, the old teacher gave him a simple task. The teacher handed him a beautiful ceramic bowl. "This bowl is very precious," the teacher said. "Take it to the river, wash it carefully, then bring it back." The young monk bowed. He held the bowl gently and walked toward the river. On the way, his mind began creating thoughts. What if I drop it? What if I break it? What if the teacher becomes disappointed? What if I fail? The more he thought, the more nervous he became. His hands became tense. His steps became uncertain. His attention moved away from the bowl. Then suddenly, the bowl slipped. It fell and broke into pieces. The monk froze. He stared at the broken bowl. Fear filled his heart. He imagined the teacher's reaction. He imagined disappointment. He imagined punishment. He imagined everything that could go wrong. But when he returned to the temple, the teacher simply smiled. The monk was confused. "Master, I broke the bowl." The teacher nodded. "Yes, I failed." The teacher looked at him. "No, you learned." The monk looked confused. The teacher continued. "The bowl was broken only once, but you broke it many times inside your mind." The monk became silent. The teacher said, "Before the bowl fell, you suffered from fear. After the bowl fell, you suffered from regret. But the actual moment was only one moment." This was the lesson. The mind creates extra suffering. Life gives us one experience, but the mind often creates hundreds. Something happens. Then the mind says, "What does this mean? What will happen next? What if? Why? How could this?" And suddenly, one moment becomes an entire storm. The Buddha taught that returning to the present moment is like returning home, because the present moment is the only place where we are actually alive. The past cannot be touched. The future cannot be touched. Only now can be experienced. Think about this moment. Right now, you are listening. You are breathing. Your body is resting. Nothing else is required. The future is not asking for your attention. The past is not asking for your attention. This moment is enough. The breath as an anchor. The ancient monks often returned to one simple thing: the breath. Why? Because the breath is always happening now. You cannot breathe yesterday. You cannot breathe tomorrow. You can only breathe here. The breath becomes an anchor, a reminder, a gentle way back. When the mind wanders, return. When worries appear, return. When thoughts become loud, return. Not with anger, not with frustration, with kindness. Imagine a small child running away. You do not punish the child for wandering. You simply guide them home. The mind is similar. It wanders. That is what minds do. Your job is not to stop it from wandering. Your job is to gently bring it back, again and again and again. A simple practice before sleep. Tonight, as you rest, try something gentle. Notice your breathing. Do not change it. Do not force it. Just notice. Breathing in, I am here. Breathing out, I can relax. Breathing in, this moment is enough. Breathing out, I release what I cannot carry tonight. Allow the breath to become slower, softer, more natural. The body knows how to rest. You do not need to teach it. The heart beats without instructions. The lungs breathe without effort. The body repairs itself while you sleep. So perhaps you can trust. Trust the body. Trust the moment. Trust life. The river that does not worry. Imagine a river flowing through the mountains. The river does not know exactly where every turn will lead. It meets rocks. It meets valleys. It meets narrow paths. It meets open spaces. But the river continues. It does not stop and say, what if the next turn is dangerous? What if I cannot continue? What if the path is wrong? It simply flows, and eventually it reaches the ocean. Perhaps life is like this river. You do not need to know every turn. You only need to continue. One breath, one step, one moment. The mind wants a complete map, but life gives us only the next step, and perhaps that is enough. Tonight, if thoughts come, let them come. If worries appear, let them appear. You do not have to fight the sky, because clouds pass through it. You do not have to fight the river because waves appear. You do not have to fight yourself because thoughts exist. You are the one watching, the observer, the awareness, the quiet space behind the noise, returning home. Now imagine yourself walking back through the temple garden. The night is peaceful. The lanterns glow softly. The air is cool. The young monk from the story sits beside the river. He is no longer afraid of broken bowls. He understands something deeper. Things break. Things change. Things end. But peace does not come from preventing everything from changing. Peace comes from learning how to remain present while everything changes. The moon does not hold on to yesterday's light. The tree does not hold on to last year's leaves. The river does not hold on to the water that has already passed. And perhaps you do not need to hold on to every thought either. Let the past be the past. Let the future arrive when it arrives. Let this moment simply be. Take one final slow breath. The mind softens. The body relaxes. The night becomes deeper. You are here. You are safe. You are allowed to rest. The journey continues tomorrow. But tonight, return home. Return to now. Return to peace. Welcome back. The night continues. The world outside grows quieter. The lights become softer. The sounds become fewer. And perhaps your own mind has begun to slow down. Tonight, we continue our journey deeper, beyond the thoughts, beyond the worries, beyond the endless search for answers, because there is something important to understand. Thinking itself is not the problem. The problem begins when we believe thinking can solve everything. The human mind is a remarkable thing. It can create, it can imagine, it can discover, it can learn, it can understand the mysteries of the world. But the same mind that creates beautiful things can also create endless suffering, because sometimes the mind does not search for wisdom. It searches for certainty. And certainty is something life rarely gives. Many people believe, when I finally understand everything, I will feel peaceful. When I know why this happened. When I know what will happen next. When I understand exactly what people think of me. When I find the perfect answer, then I will finally rest. But often, the opposite happens. The more answers we find, the more questions appear. Like walking deeper into a forest, every path reveals another path. Every answer reveals another mystery. And eventually, the search itself becomes exhausting. The student who asked too many questions. Long ago, there was a young student who traveled many days to find a famous Zen master. The student had heard stories about the master's wisdom. People said, "He understands the nature of the mind. He knows the secret of peace. He sees reality clearly." The student arrived at the temple full of excitement. He bowed deeply and said, "Master, I have traveled far because I have many questions." The master smiled. "Questions are welcome." The student sat down and began. What is the meaning of life? Why do people suffer? What happens after death? How can I remove all fear? How can I become completely peaceful? How can I know I am on the right path? Question after question, hour after hour, the master listened quietly. Finally, the student stopped. He looked proud. "I have spent many years searching. I believe if I find all these answers, I will finally become free." The master looked at him, then asked, "Are you thirsty?" The student was surprised. "Yes." The master picked up a cup of tea. He began pouring. The cup filled. The tea reached the top, but the master continued pouring. Tea spilled onto the table, then onto the floor. The student quickly said, "Master, stop. The cup is full. You cannot add more." The master smiled. "Exactly. Your mind is like this cup. You have filled it with questions. You have filled it with ideas. You have filled it with expectations. How can new wisdom enter if there is no space?" The student became silent. For the first time, he noticed something. Perhaps his search for answers was preventing him from receiving peace. The difference between wisdom and overthinking. Wisdom is quiet. Overthinking is noisy. Wisdom observes. Overthinking chases. Wisdom allows things to unfold. Overthinking demands immediate answers. The wise person asks, "What can I learn from this moment?" The overthinking mind asks, "How can I guarantee nothing goes wrong?" One creates growth. The other creates exhaustion. Imagine holding a flower. You want to understand its beauty, so you examine it. You look closely. You study every detail. But if you pull the flower apart, trying to understand every part, you destroy the very thing you wanted to appreciate. Some things in life are understood through experience, not analysis. Love, peace, presence, joy. You cannot think your way into every truth. Some truths must be felt. The mind that wants control. Overthinking often comes from a hidden desire. The desire to control uncertainty. The mind says, "If I think enough, I can prevent pain." But life does not work that way. A person can spend years planning and still face unexpected events. A person can worry constantly and still be surprised. A person can analyze every possibility and still not control the outcome. Because life is not a puzzle that can be solved completely. Life is something to be experienced. The ocean cannot be understood by staring at it from the shore forever. Eventually, you must enter the water. The same is true with life. At some point, you must stop analyzing every wave and learn to swim. The farmer and the seed. There was once a farmer who planted a seed in his field. Every morning, he visited the soil. He looked carefully. Nothing appeared. The next day, Still nothing. The third day, nothing. The farmer became worried. Maybe the seed was broken. Maybe the soil was wrong. Maybe he had failed. So he dug into the ground to check. But when he removed the soil, he disturbed the seed. The small beginning of growth was damaged. The farmer learned a lesson. Some things grow in silence. Some things require patience. Some things cannot be forced. The mind often makes the same mistake. It keeps digging. Is it working? Am I better yet? Have I changed? Will this be okay? And by constantly checking, we disturb the process. Healing, growth, peace, they often happen quietly, like a seed beneath the earth. The wisdom of not knowing. One of the hardest things for the human mind is accepting. I do not know. The ego dislikes these words. It wants certainty. It wants answers. It wants control. But there is great freedom in accepting uncertainty. I do not know what tomorrow brings, and that is okay. I do not know how everything will unfold, and that is okay. I do not have all the answers, and that is okay. Because life has always moved forward without our complete understanding. The sun rises without asking permission. The seasons change without explanation. The river flows without knowing its entire journey. Perhaps you can do the same, returning to quiet tonight. Notice if your mind has been searching for answers, searching for certainty, searching for a reason, and gently ask, is this thought helping me? Not, how do I stop thinking? But, do I need to follow this thought? Because not every question requires an answer tonight. Some questions belong to tomorrow. Some answers arrive with time. Some understanding comes only after we stop forcing it. Imagine standing beneath the night sky, looking at thousands of stars. You do not need to count them all. You do not need to understand every star. You simply witness their beauty. The universe does not need to be fully explained to be appreciated. Life is the same. Tonight, let some questions remain unanswered. Let some mysteries remain mysteries. Let some things simply be. The moon does not explain its light. It simply shines. The river does not explain its journey. It simply flows. And you do not need to understand everything to find peace. Take a slow breath. Release the search. Release the pressure. Release the need to know. For this moment, you are not a problem to solve. You are a life to experience. Rest now. The answers can wait. The future can wait. The mind can rest. The night is quiet. The lantern is glowing. And peace is already here. Welcome back. The night is still. The world is resting. And now, we turn our attention to something even deeper. Something hidden beneath many forms of overthinking. Not only the fear of the future. Not only the search for answers. But something many people carry quietly inside themselves. The belief that they are not enough. The mind says, I should have done better. I should have known. I should have chosen differently. I should be further ahead. I should be someone else. And, slowly, without realizing it, we become our own harshest critic. The mind that was created to protect us turns against us. It remembers every mistake, every failure, every moment of embarrassment, every time we felt rejected, and then it repeats those memories again and again and again, as if suffering more could somehow make us worthy. But wisdom teaches something different. Pain does not need punishment. Mistakes do not need hatred. A wounded heart does not need more wounds. It needs compassion. the monk who could not forgive himself. There was once a young monk named Haru. Haru was intelligent, hard-working, and deeply devoted to his practice. Every day, he woke before sunrise. He cleaned the temple, studied the teachings, helped others, meditated for many hours. The other monks respected him. But the old teacher noticed something. Haru was never satisfied. If he completed his tasks, he focused on what he missed. If someone praised him, he wondered if they truly meant it. If he made a small mistake, he remembered it for days. One evening, the teacher found Haru sitting alone in the garden. His head was lowered. His expression was heavy. The teacher asked, "What troubles you?" Haru replied, "Master, I keep failing." The teacher sat beside him. "Failing at what?" Haru answered, "Being a good monk, being wise, being peaceful. I keep making mistakes." The teacher looked around the garden, then pointed toward an old tree. "Do you see that tree?" Haru nodded. "How many leaves does it have?" Haru looked confused. "I do not know." "How many leaves did it lose last autumn?" Again, Haru did not know. The teacher smiled. "Does the tree hate itself for losing leaves?" Haru was silent. "Does it spend winter blaming itself for not being green?" "No." "Does it punish itself because spring has not yet arrived?" "No." The teacher looked at him. "Then why do you?" The lesson stayed with Haru. Nature does not demand perfection. The river does not apologize for every stone it touches. The tree does not regret every leaf it loses. The sky does not feel guilty when clouds appear. Everything exists according to its nature. Yet humans often create an impossible standard. We expect ourselves to never fail, never struggle, never feel confused, never make mistakes. But what if mistakes are part of being human? What if growth does not come from being perfect? What if growth comes from learning gently? The problem with the inner critic. Many people believe their inner critic helps them improve. They think, if I am hard enough on myself, I will become better. But fear rarely creates wisdom. A child who is constantly criticized does not become confident. The child becomes afraid. Afraid of mistakes, afraid of trying, afraid of being seen. The same happens inside our own minds. A mind filled with criticism becomes afraid. Afraid to begin, afraid to fail, afraid to change, afraid to rest. And this fear creates more overthinking. Because when you believe every decision must be perfect, every decision becomes heavy. A simple choice becomes a battle. A small mistake becomes a disaster. A normal human moment becomes proof that something is wrong with you. But nothing is wrong with being human. The broken cup. There is another Zen story. A student once brought a beautiful cup to his teacher. The cup was old, but precious. The student said, "Master, this cup is special. It has been passed down through my family." The teacher held the cup carefully, then said, "One day, it will break." The student became uncomfortable. "Please, do not say that." The teacher smiled, "But it is already broken." The student was confused. "It is not broken." The teacher replied, "It has already begun moving toward breaking. Everything changes. Everything passes. Everything transforms. The wisdom is not pretending the cup will last forever. The wisdom is appreciating it while it is here. The same is true of ourselves. You are not a finished object. You are not something that must be perfect. You are something unfolding. Every mistake, every lesson, every difficult moment, every change, all of it is part of your becoming, the voice you listen to. Tonight, Notice the voice inside your mind, the one that judges, the one that criticizes, the one that says, you should have done more, you should have known better, you are behind. Now imagine speaking to that voice like you would speak to someone you love. Would you speak so harshly to a friend? Would you tell someone you care about, you are a failure because you made a mistake? Probably not. So why speak that way to yourself? The Buddha taught about compassion. Not only compassion toward others, but compassion toward oneself, because a peaceful heart begins with kindness. The garden of the mind. Imagine your mind as a garden. Every thought is a seed. If you plant seeds of fear, fear grows. If you plant seeds of judgment, judgment grows. If you plant seeds of kindness, peace grows. Tonight, choose a gentler seed. Instead of, I am not enough, try, I am learning. Instead of, I failed, try, I discovered something. Instead of, I should be different, try, I am becoming. Now imagine walking through the temple garden at night. The lanterns glow softly. The flowers rest. The trees breathe quietly. You find a small stone path. At the end of the path is a mirror. You look into the mirror. But instead of seeing every mistake, you see a person who has been trying. A person who has survived difficult days. A person who has carried heavy things. A person who is still here. And, perhaps, that deserves kindness. Take a slow breath. Release the need to be perfect. Release the need to have everything figured out. Release the belief that you must earn peace. Peace is not a reward for perfection. Peace is something you can return to now. The moon does not become beautiful because it is perfect. It is beautiful because it simply exists. The flower does not need permission to bloom. The tree does not need approval to grow. And you do not need to become someone else to deserve peace. Tonight, rest as you are. Not finished, not perfect, but complete in this moment. The mind becomes softer. The heart becomes lighter. The night becomes quieter. And the overthinking begins to fade. Not because every problem disappeared, but because you stopped fighting yourself. Rest now. You have done enough. You have carried enough. You are allowed to simply be. Welcome back. The journey has brought us here, to this quiet moment, to this peaceful night, to the place where we no longer need to search. No more questions, no more explanations, no more trying to understand everything. For a little while, simply rest. Allow the body to become comfortable. Allow the shoulders to soften. Allow the face to relax. Allow the hands to become still. The day has ended. Whatever happened today has already become part of the past. Whatever may happen tomorrow has not yet arrived. There is only this breath, this moment, this quiet, and perhaps this is the place you have been searching for all along. Not somewhere far away, not hidden in the future, not waiting after every problem is solved, but here, within this simple moment, the last lesson from the Zen master. Before the young monk, Ren, left the temple many years later, he returned one final time to his teacher. He had spent years studying, years practicing, years learning about the mind. The teacher looked at him and asked, "Tell me, what have you learned?" Ren smiled. At first, he wanted to give a long answer. He wanted to explain everything. The teachings, the stories, the lessons, the discoveries. But then he stopped. He remembered the cup, the river, the empty mind, the peaceful pond. And he simply said, "I learned to stop fighting what appears." The teacher smiled. "Good." Ren continued, I learned thoughts will come. I learned feelings will change. I learned life will always move. And peace does not come from controlling everything. It comes from allowing life to be what it is. The teacher nodded, because this was the deepest lesson. The mind does not need to become empty. The mind only needs to become free. The lake beneath the moon. Now, imagine yourself once again beside the peaceful lake. The same lake we have visited throughout this journey. The water is calm. The mountains are quiet. The moon shines gently above. The world feels slower here, softer, more peaceful. You sit beside the water, and you watch. At first, small ripples appear. A thought, a memory, a feeling. The mind creates movement, but you do not chase the ripples. You do not try to smooth the water. You simply watch, because you understand now. The lake does not need to be perfectly still to be peaceful. Even with ripples, the moon is still reflected. Even with thoughts, peace is still present, letting thoughts pass. Tonight, when a thought appears, imagine placing it on a small leaf. The leaf rests on the surface of the water, and the current gently carries it away. A thought about tomorrow, place it on the leaf. Let it drift. A memory from yesterday, place it on the leaf. Let it drift. A worry, a fear, a question, a regret. Place each one gently on the water. You do not push them away. You do not fight them. You simply allow them to continue their journey. The river knows where to carry them. You do not need to follow. The breath of peace. Now bring your attention to your breathing. Slowly, gently, naturally. Breathing in. You receive this moment. Breathing out. You release what no longer needs to be carried. Breathing in. The body relaxes. Breathing out. The mind softens. Each breath is a reminder. You are here. Not in the past. Not in the future. Here. The 3 things to remember. Before we finish this journey, remember 3 simple truths. First, your thoughts are not your identity. Thoughts are visitors. Some stay longer. Some leave quickly. Some are pleasant. Some are difficult. But you are the space that welcomes them. Second, you do not need every answer to be peaceful. Some questions will remain unanswered. Some paths will remain unclear. Some things will unfold only with time. And that is okay. The flower does not ask when it will bloom. The river does not ask where every turn will lead. The moon does not ask if tomorrow will come. Life knows how to continue. Third, you are allowed to rest. Not after everything is perfect. Not after every problem disappears. Not after you become someone better. Now, exactly as you are, the lantern of the mind. Imagine now that you are holding a small lantern. A warm golden light shines from within. This lantern represents awareness. The quiet part of you that observes. The part that has always been there. Thoughts may come. The world may change. Life may become uncertain. But this light remains. Like a lantern in the darkness. Not removing the night. Simply reminding you that you are not lost. Hold the lantern gently. Feel its warmth. And hear these words. You do not need to control every moment. You do not need to understand everything. You do not need to carry everything. You only need to meet life as it comes. One breath, one moment, one step, drifting into rest. The moon rises higher now. The lake becomes quieter. The trees become still. The lantern beside you glows softly. Your breathing slows. Your body feels heavy, comfortable, safe. The mind no longer needs to search. No more solving. No more chasing. No more carrying. The questions can rest. The worries can rest. The thoughts can rest. And you can rest too. Imagine the lake one final time. The water is perfectly calm. The moon is reflected clearly. The mountains stand silently. Everything is exactly where it needs to be. Nothing is missing. Nothing needs to be added. And, perhaps, for this moment, you feel it. The peace that was hidden beneath the noise. The stillness beneath the thoughts. The quiet wisdom within. It was never lost. It was simply waiting. Waiting for you to stop searching. Waiting for you to slow down. Waiting for you to come home. Home to this moment. Home to yourself. Take one final slow breath. In. Peace enters. Out. The mind releases. In. You are present. Out. You let go. The night holds you gently. The moon watches quietly. The lantern continues to glow. And now, you may sleep. Sleep deeply. Sleep peacefully. Tomorrow will come when it comes. The future will arrive when it arrives. The answers will appear when they are ready. Tonight, there is only rest. You have done enough. You have thought enough. You have carried enough. Let the mind become still. Let the heart become light. Let yourself simply be. Good night. May your dreams be peaceful. May your heart be calm. May wisdom gently guide you through the night.